So scanning is huge operation. So the 18 million images. So what happens next? From scanning to transcription. So every week, the Max Communications would upload batches of images to our secure servers, to our transcription partner, SBL, who have the huge task of transcribing those 38 million names. So like Max Communications, SBL are our long-time partner. We've worked for them for many, many years. And they are based in India, in the south of India to be precise. So they are in Kochi in the province of Kerala, and also Madurai, which is in Tamil Nadu. So that's right in the tip there, the southern tip there on the map you can see. And Madurai was where the bulk of, all of the census was transcribed. So you might be asking, why send the census to India? Why SBL? So first and foremost, what SBL offer is a transcription service that is not available in the United Kingdom and not really available in Europe at all. And moreover, SBL have been working on transcription projects for many years, and they have a high level of expertise of working with a range of historical documents. So they have worked on projects from the 1500s. They can transcribe secretary hand. They can transcribe Latin. Basically, you name a historical record, they've probably transcribed it. And we have worked with SBL for many years, and since 2015, we have completed 247 projects with them, and that's not including current projects that are in the pipeline. So you can see we've got a long-term established relationship with SBL, and we really rely on their expertise. So here are just some of the previous projects, and I'm sure you'll recognise some of them. So recently we had the Plymouth Roman Catholic Parish Registers collection. You can see an example of that there, and various other parish registers collections such as Surrey, Leicestershire, and again a huge range. We've got army records, we've got specialist crime collections, and older records like the Jacobite rebellions. So if you just move on to the next slide for me, please, Mary. I just wanted to bring this particular collection into focus just to show the skill that SBL have. And so this is the Registers of Licenses to Pass Beyond the Seas, 1573 to 1677. So you can see an incredibly historic collection. And these were licenses that were issued to individuals who were looking to go abroad to Europe. So this was an especially complex collection, and the transcription that SBL produced for us just shows the knowledge that they have and the skill that they have, and that was really sort of so behind our choice to make them our transcription partner for 1921.
Yeah, when I look at images like this, I have no idea how anybody's able to transcribe them. So the work that they do is incredible, and without that transcription, we wouldn't be able to have, a meaningful search experience online. It's really such a vital part to the process.
It's where the magic happens. I'm going to be typing in the name of my ancestor for the 1921 census, and it will be the work of SBL that has brought that to me. And so whoever, we've got this lovely record here of Hercules King. So if someone out there was related to Hercules King, that for me, that's the real magic of it that unlocks the records for us.
Absolutely. No, they do an amazing job.
So talking about SBL, they have the census with them. So So what next? What happened? How do they even begin to transcribe these 38 million names? So way back when, in spring 2019, Findmypast subject experts travelled to India to train teams on the 1921 census. So this was an incredibly intensive intense can't get my words out.
It's an intense process.
It was an intense process, so intense I can't even say it. Our subject experts came up with incredibly detailed keying rules. So that's the guide as to how to transcribe the 1921 census. And that will be looking and taking into account all the variables, all the different types of forms, what fields to capture. And this training, they trained the team leaders. So team leaders at SBL, they are the people who have these 10 years worth of experience. And you can see in our picture there some members of our team talking through the team leaders, and they would go on to train their teams, and they would be refreshing their teams throughout the project on the keying rules. So that was sort of a process that was enacted throughout the transcription process. We went back to India as well, staff from Findmypast for refresher training. And the scale of the project really hits home when we're talking about the SBL team, because we could see up to 350 transcription operators working on the project, which, you know, that's a vast number, but necessary to help us transcribe those 38 million names there. And just on a security note, as we've touched on before, you know, all our transcription operators at SBL were security cleared, and for an extra level of security, all the census images were actually split, so none of the operators could see the form in its entirety. So that was just one of the many steps that we to help us ensure that security on the project. So we're just thankful for SBL and all the hard work that they've put in over the months, and they've been transcribing thousands of records on a weekly basis for us, and we're just so excited to bring you these records. So Mary, I think I'm going to hand back to you now.
Yes, I think. Yeah, once you see that number of about 350 transcribers, you can see, again, the scale of the project, but also through all of these steps, from the conservation to the digitization to the transcription, you can see how manual the process is to be able to bring a collection of this size online. And every single form has been touched, every single form has been carefully imaged, and every single form has been reviewed and then carefully keyed by an individual. So every step is critical to this process, and you can see why it's taken so long to be able to bring the collection online, and why we're so excited to bring it online to you. In terms of security, the team have been amazing, and like Rose said, we've taken so many additional steps to make sure that we make sure that we comply with the Census Act of 1920, which governs the 1921 census, and to make sure that we're keeping these documents as confidential as possible with a very secure, tight team. It does seem like there's a lot of people, but there's a lot of elements that are put into place to make sure these documents are always kept secure, and we, maintain that confidentiality of 100 years for the individuals that wrote on these forms. Your ancestor who submitted their census form and then was told, this will be kept confidential, and it has been for 100 years. But now it's over the 100 years. So we're so excited now that we get to do a deep dive into these records and see what everybody wrote and what they said. So at this point, we're at our final stages. We have now announced that the 1921 census is coming. It's going to be online only at Findmypast on the 6th of January 2022. It's been an amazing experience over the last few years, and like I said, we've had over 500 people working on this, with just the Findmypast team, the executive team. We have our partners at Max Communications, our partners at SBL, but alongside all of that, we have to thank our partners at the National Archives who have helped guide the process and help guide our conservation team. We also have our partners at the Office for National Statistics who have kept this collection safe, and kept it secure for so long, and have allowed us to work with them to make sure to digitize these in a safe way that preserves this, not only for us to be able to search them online now, but also for future generations, that these books are being preserved. So we're in the final steps of the process, and we are still working with the books. We're doing a process which is called retying, which is now that all the books have been scanned and imaged, the conservation team look at them again. So a second time, all of these household forms, 8.5 million household forms, are being looked at a second time by the team to make sure that there's no further damage to the books, to make sure that they're preserved, double check for any of those tobacco flakes like we found before. And like we talked about before, removing those plastic sleeves so that way the weight of the collection is lessened when it goes into deep storage and they are preserved. So I want to just tell you guys to just get excited, get ready, start preparing for the coming of the 1921 census. Build your family tree. First step, take a look at 1911. Where were your ancestors there just 10 years before? Start making note of these, save these records, take a look at the electoral registers. Earlier this year, we released even more electoral registers for you to look at. And so you'll be able to find your ancestor in 1920 and see where they were living. And all of these details will help you search the records once they're available online. So we want to just say a big thank you for joining us today. I know we're both really excited to see these records. Rose, what is it that you're excited to see for the
so many things, but I'm very excited about seeing my grandmother in the census. She would have been a baby. She would have been 1, but also her father. I'm so excited for seeing his record because I'm going to be so moved by it, I think, because so much has happened between 1911 and 1921, because my great-grandfather was he was in France for 3 years, 8 months, then he was in Germany for a year. So he was an interpreter with the Royal Army Medical Corps, and the experience that he must have been through in that decade, and then to see his handwriting and see him with his little baby daughter, I'm already getting a bit emotional talking about it, because it's so poignant, it's so profound, and he was one of the lucky ones who came back, and that's not true for many households in 21, sadly. So for me, it's such a huge social moment. Just excited on so many levels.
Yes, the 1921 census, you have to take into account, and it's the first national census, the first national survey after the First World War, after the Spanish flu pandemic. So much has happened to an entire generation of people, these 38 million people. And, Rose, your beautiful story there about what you want to find and your connection to your family history just shows you that as much as we can talk about the scale of the project and how big the books are and how big the whole, process is, it's all comes down to that individual family story, making those individual family connections. And that is what we're so excited to see and hear from you. Tell us about the family connections that you're going to find. And again, big thank you to everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Rose, for your input and understanding more about the digitization and transcription process. And if you've enjoyed this video, please come back again. Please share the video, do all your likes, subscribes, posts, tweets, whatever it is you do. And thank you again for joining us for Findmypast at Home. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.